Hey, what up everybody? It's your girl Amanda. Welcome to The Buzzed Artist, a channel where you can unlock your creativity and just have fun with acrylic paint. Today, once again, we are in the Halloween mood and we are going to be painting a beautiful witch riding a broomstick with her hair flowing in the wind, and she's holding a pumpkin. This one was so much fun to make and I am so excited to share how to do this with you. So grab your supplies and let's get painting. Also, before we get started, please do not forget to like and subscribe this video so that you can see more videos in the future. All right, let's get rolling. Okay, so before we get started, I just wanted to show you a couple of the supplies we will be using. This is a 9 by, what kind of canvas? 9 by 12. This is a 9 by 12 pre-gessoed canvas. I have my paint water, I got my paint plate, and on my paint plate I only have 4 different colors you're going to be using. So I'm going to be using a primary yellow, a Mars black, titanium white, and I don't know like the full name of this particular type of blue. I'll be putting all the names of the paints I'll be using in the description below, so be sure to refer to that. And I'm only going to be using 3 types of brushes today. So I'm going to be using a broad brush. This will help with my background. I got a medium-sized brush. This has a more of a kind of like a rounded head to it. And then I got my smallest brush in the kit. Okay? And once again, you can find all the types of brushes I use and my paints as well as the canvas in the description below. Alright, let's get started. So we're going to be painting a beautiful vixen witch, but to start we're going to be working on the background first. So we're going to take the biggest brush that you got and I'm going to dip it into my paint water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the yellow. So there's kind of like this halo-y kind of like light that's coming out from this corner of the canvas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some white, okay, and I'm going to add some white to that. Take some yellow and white, combine those together until I get this like more opaque, not as like bright yellow. That's kind of what I want to go for. And what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to head to the corner of my canvas and start to paint in a diagonal motion. Okay. Now I'm just going to, I'm going to cover a good deal of the canvas because what's going to happen next is we're going to be putting our green, and I want to make sure that at least a good part of this, of the yellow, is added so that when the green gets added later it can blend really cool and really nicely with our yellow. Okay. So that's, I don't want to focus too much on this part, but I just wanted to lay down some yellow, because now what we're going to do is we're going to make a greenish kind of tinge to go and add to the bottom portions of this canvas. So all I'm going to do is I don't even have to wash my brush at this point. I'm just going to take some blue, and then I'm going to take some yellow, because blue and yellow make green. So you get that really cool green kind of color, right? Now, I want to make this a little bit more opaque, so I'm just going to add some white to this, okay? So I'm just going to put those colors together, and maybe it's a little too pastel, so I'm going to add some more yellow to it so it has more of a glow, okay? I'm digging it. I'm feeling it. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same brush, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, with the same strokes, same angles, I'm just going to go ahead and we're back. So my camera just cut out in the middle of me painting. This has happened in prior videos, so I apologize. But basically what we were working on was we were laying down that green. Now, once you've laid down that green with the same kind of strokes, what you're gonna do next is you're gonna make a darker green. And basically what I did was I just took some blue and took some yellow, and I combined those two together to get this like really cool, like dark green here. And what I did was I just went back in and added in that darker green over the green I just previously laid down, okay? So as I'm laying this darker green down, kind of just like fixating on the corners a little bit and bringing it out, what I'm going to do after laying down my green, which I think I'm good with at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse my brush, and then I'm going to go back in with my yellow, and I'm just going to do straight up yellow this time. I'm not going to add in any white, and I'm just going to go over the yellow I previously laid down, and I'm just going to kind of pull the yellow and blend it in with the green, okay? So when it comes to anything, when it comes to blending, when your colors are still wet and you're putting them together, that is the concept of blending. So I'm not afraid to cross into what I previously painted with my green, okay? That's open for me. I'm not afraid to cross into that, because typically when we paint, a beginner especially does this a lot. They will be afraid to paint over what they just did in the act of blending. So usually they'll keep their yellow here and they'll keep their green here, and they kind of don't touch each other. And that is actually preventing you from blending properly. You're gonna want to go and blend your yellow into your green and your green into your yellow, okay? I'm taking my brush and I'm kind of just, I'm breaking the territory, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and add in that yellow here. So now I got this really cool sheen look going on here. So I'm going to wait for this to dry, and then we're gonna go and add our witch. Okay, so now that my canvas is nice and dry, what I'm gonna do next is I'm going to work with the medium-sized brush. It's got a rounded tip to it. So we're going to be adding in our witch. This is going to be really fun and really cool. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my brush and dip it into my paint water, and then I'm just going to take out some black. Now what we're going to start to do first is kind of figure out her figure and where she's going to be. And I'm going to be making a printable of this witch that you can go ahead and download. I'll include it in the description below so you can follow along and trace her onto the canvas, and then all you have to do is just paint her in black. But for those of you that don't want to do a traceable and just kind of want to follow along with me, we'll do that. Alright, so let's start with her neck. So she's got a pretty fine neck, and let's see, I'm just going to follow along here. She's got these like pointy kind of shoulders, and I'm just gonna these are her arms. So she kind of has her arms, this arm here is kind of draped over her lap. Okay. And if you feel like you're more confident with a smaller brush, go for it. You don't have to go with this size. I'm gonna do the other side of her neck. And this side here, so she's got her shoulder, and going down, and then back up, because she's holding a pumpkin. Okay, so I'm just going to stop there with her arm, and fill this in. Okay. Alright, and then I'm going to start to do her body. Now she's a very slender witch. She's more on the pretty side, so we're gonna make her curvy. So we got her waist. And then we're gonna do her butt. So she's got a round derriere. Just like so. around just like that. All right. Now I'm gonna go back up here this time because I want to complete that rest of her lap. So I'm just gonna go here, start here, and I'm going to just take her, put her lap down here, go down just like so. All right, and she's kind of got like a drapey kind of look with her dress here, so I'm just going to, it's almost like mermaid-like really, so I'm just going to do the other side of her lap and kind of wisp out her bottom of her dress. And I'm just going to connect these lines here for her derriere going into her lap just like so. Okay, so that is part one of our little witch. So she's also got some other little features here and there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to so I'm gonna do her chest. Just like so. And I'm gonna make her pretty slender actually, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Okay. Okay. So that's kind of part one. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fill her in with the black. So her arm is going to get slightly covered by me painting in her lap, but we can bring that back in with some other painting techniques, which I'll show you guys in a bit. It's so funny, every time I work on a new painting, there's always like 12 other ideas that start popping up while I'm painting. Like, for some reason, her dress kind of reminds me of like Ursula, with her tentacles and kind of like this bodice that she has on. So I'm like, I don't know, my mind's just going berserk right now. Focus, gotta focus. Okay. You know, and now it's the time I can just kind of go in, kind of fix her around, you know, her proportions if I need to. Okay. Just like so. I'm not too concerned about making the bottom parts here that perfect. I'm going to be showing you a couple little things here and there that we're going to be adding in at the end, so I wouldn't worry too much about this part. Okay. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this one. What I'm gonna do now, let's see. What I wanna do now is I wanna do her head. So as of right now, her neck is just kind of there, but there's no obvious face on it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take my medium-sized brush, I'm gonna clean it, and now what I'm going to add, so this is kind of like an homage to the Wizard of Oz. I want to make her face green, and I want to do a dark green. So I'm just going to take some blue, I'm going to take some yellow, and combine those two colors together. Okay. So I got this cool green color going on, kind of like how we did with the background. I'm gonna add a little bit of white because we want to be able to see some of her features later on when we add in her smile. So I think that's a cool color. It's almost like a mint, spearmint. So I'm just gonna take my brush and I'm gonna do 2 lines. I'm gonna do one line going down like this, and then another line going up like this. You can use your smaller brush if you are not so comfortable with handling a brush of this size. But that's all I want to do. That's all I want to do is to add this little part here for her face. And if we want to go ahead and add her hands, I'm going to move on to the smaller brush. I'm going to take the same color, and I'm just going to go ahead and make her hands. Okay. And again, if you have the traceable, this part is pretty much, you just kind of want to go ahead and trace it. Okay. Right now they look kind of like crab hands. That's okay. We're going to be putting a pumpkin in there anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. And she's also got her hand right here, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a brush stroke to illustrate her hand is there. Okay. If your paint is still a little wet, just wait for it to dry, then you can go back in and add it. Okay, just like so. Cool. Now, I'm going to stick with the small brush actually, because now what we're going to do is we're going to do her hat. So we're going to just dip into the black paint once again. You follow along with the traceable, or you can follow along with me here. But I'm just going to go ahead and outline her hat. So she's got a pretty big lapel hat. Every witch does. So it's going to go down into her face. I'm going to cover part of it, and then it's going to go back up again and out. Okay, up again and out. Okay. Now I'm just going to go ahead and do the pointy part of her hat. So I'm just going to add this here, and it's going to curve out this way. You're going to be creative. If you want to curve yours out a different way, go for it. Okay. So I'm just going to make her hat really long, because why not? Okay, and I'm just going to take it back in. It gets skinny on the tip, and then it gets larger and larger as it goes towards the base of the hat. Just like so. Okay. And then I'm going to connect this part, get it out like that. And that's her top. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and fill this in with the black. And I'm going to continue to kind of cover her face up a little bit. I do want to have her a little shrouded in mystery here. Pretty neat, huh? Cool witch. Now I'm just gonna go in here and there and just add some more cleanup touches to her body. now that I have her full body, what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna paint in her broom that she's riding on. So once again, I'm gonna take that small brush and dip it into my black. And basically, if you want the help of a ruler to kind of get a straight line, that's fine. I'm just going to kind of wing it. So I'm going to start the line right where you would think it would start on her derriere, on her bum. So I'm gonna make it such that her broom is kind of like this angle. Actually, you know what? I'll use my other brush as a marker, just so I can kind of get an idea of where I want to put everything. So I'm kind of gonna align the wood of my brush, kind of get an idea of where I want the angle to be. I'm kind of liking this one, so I'm just gonna go ahead and follow that angle. Okay, and I'm just gonna fill this in a little bit with a little black line, and I'm gonna add another line coming out this way. Okay, cool. Oh no, fix that later. But basically, this is kind of like the line I want to go with. So now that I kind of have it, I'm just gonna go ahead and fill this in. Okay, yeah, I kind of like the length of this broom on both ends. So I'm just going to, once I kind of have, I'm gonna maybe thicken up the broom handle a little bit. Okay. Her Nimbus 2000. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the bristles of the broom on this side here. So I'm just going to do that by doing multiple strokes. I'm just going to be doing the same kind of strokes over and over and over again. So I'm just taking my brush and I'm just going to make several brush strokes over and over again. Now you could make the bristles like look really scraggled, like it's like one of those old brooms that don't have much going on with them, or you can make it kind of like a straight edge broom. Kind of up to you how you want to do that part. Okay. Alright, right on. So we have her broom. By something, we need to do her hair, because before we do the pumpkin, I want to make sure we get her hair right. Now, I think it would be really cool if she had like flowing white hair. I don't think we see that very often with witches, but I think that would be kind of a cool thing. So I'm going to take my brush, my small brush this time, and I'm going to take my white. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of fill in where her locks would be. So I'm kind of going to feel this one out. You know, she's got long flowing locks, and let's see, so she's got some on this side here, just like so. And I don't think I'm gonna fill in, and I kind of like the tone. It looks like she actually has green hair without me actually painting it, so I'm kind of working with the scenery. So I'm just gonna take my brush and keep just adding in her locks. Okay, and her locks kind of extend out this way. Okay. Okay, very cool. It does add like a really cool tone to this, so I'm kind of glad I went with the white. And again, if you don't want to do this particular color, that's totally cool. You can go ahead and add another color of your choice, but I decided white was the best for me. So I'm happy with this. I think I'm gonna leave that now for the time being. Now I'm gonna take my medium-sized brush and we're gonna work on that pumpkin that is resting on her hand. So what I'm gonna do is, I already started making the color, but basically I'm gonna take a little bit of red. So this was another color that I did mention at the beginning. We only need a tiny, tiny bit of this to make our pumpkin. If you don't have red, you know, you can work and make another type of object that she's holding. You don't have to necessarily do a pumpkin, but I felt the need to do it. So I'm going to combine the colors together. I'm going to add a little bit of white just to kind of pale that up a little bit. Okay, so got my color. I'm going to go to her hand. And let's see, I'm gonna go over her thumb actually and I'll repaint it, but basically we're gonna do the pumpkin, and the way to do pumpkins really is you're gonna start at the top where you would want your pumpkin, and you're gonna make like a semicircle, and then you're gonna do the other side of the pumpkin, like the other point of the pumpkin, and you're just gonna kind of do the same thing on this side here. Okay, and then you're gonna fill it in. Okay, that's pretty much the premise of making a pumpkin, really. It's really not rocket science. Pretty straightforward for the most part. Okay, so I'm just gonna go in, fill in the rest here. Okay. Cool beans. So I like the size, I'm kind of digging it a lot, so I'm going to leave it at that for now. Because while that's drying, we're going to work on some other little details with our witch. So I want to give her some features on her face. And so she's got this grin. I think it's a very nice devilish kind of like mischievous grin. So I'm going to take the smallest brush I have and take it and put it in black. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to her nose, and I'm just going to do like a little nose, just like so. A little delicate nose. Just like that. It's a little stroke. And then I'm going to do her lips. And her lips are kind of like just 1 and 2. Just a little brush stroke. And then the bottom lip, just like that. Okay. And she's smiling. I'm gonna fill that in. So she's got black lipstick. Okay. And I'm gonna do like that little side of her mouth that is grinning, like kind of like the cheek. Okay. So now I'm just gonna kind of go in and kind of feel out the features here. Kind of get an understanding of where I want everything to be. I'm just gonna tidy up a couple of spots. Okay. Now, recall how I was working on her hand here and it kind of got covered up by the rest of the lap, so it looks like it's kind of there but not. So one thing we could do just to kind of add additional features to our witch is I'm going to take this small brush once again, dip it in white this time. And we're gonna kind of go in, so I'm gonna tilt this way so you can see. We're gonna go in and just add in like that part of her arm that would be there. So I'm just gonna go in and kind of highlight that, her arm. So it's kind of separating her her lap from her arm, so you can see it's clearly there. And I'm just gonna take the rest of my white and kind of bring it down into her cloak, or into the bottom of her dress. So this is going to cause a really cool like splatter looking effect. White is like the great universal color. I don't know, for some reason it just helps to bring all the colors together. So I'm going to create this like really cool splayed out kind of look for her dress. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of add that in here. Okay. And let's see, I'm gonna probably do another one like right here for begins. Okay. And let's see here. Oops. And I'm probably gonna do the one where her chest is, so I'm just gonna make that. I'm gonna add that part in. Okay, so I'm just kind of going in and feeling it out where I want to put everything. Now I'm going to work on her hat. So I'm just going to extend this top part of the hat here into her lapel and going out this way. And then we got another one right here at her lapel. Okay, just like so. And then one on the inner part right here. Right on. This is looking so cool, you guys. Okay. And again, if you're feeling like you put way too much white in some parts, you can always just wait for this to dry and just reapply back with another color. No big deal. Okay. So next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go back to the pumpkin here and just kind of add in the finishing details. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush, and my small brush this time, and I'm going to go and dip it in some black. And then I'm going to first make the stem of my pumpkin. So it's a little brush stroke coming out like this and going out, connecting just like so, nothing crazy. Now you can do a lot of things with this. You can make this like a jack-o'-lantern. You could make this in different ways, but I'm just going to do a regular carved pumpkin. So I'm just gonna paint in the rind. So I'm just going to go ahead and add in the rind with the black. Okay. I'm like constantly looking at the camera to make sure it's still rolling. One of these days I'll get a camera that'll work. And then I don't have to keep apologizing. Cool. So once I cut the rind of the pumpkin, I'm going to do one finishing touch, which is adding in white to highlight like the rinds of the pumpkin as well. So I'm just gonna go in and add some white to the top portions of the pumpkin here. Just like so. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and add some final details to our witch. And then once your pumpkin is dry, I'm also going to go ahead and finish and put her thumb, that so she has some sort of like grip on the pumpkin. You don't have to do this part if you don't want to, but I'm just gonna take her thumb and just bring it out into the pumpkin itself. Just like so. Add a couple more little techniques, just a little bit of like a highlighting feature. So at the end of the broom here, I did want to add some white and kind of bring that broom to be like a teardrop shape. So I'm just kind of doing little strokes here and there. Not completely covering it, but just a hint. Just like so. And I can always go back and forth with the black to go ahead and just fix it up a little bit so it's not completely all white. It is a pretty cool effect though. Alright, so there you have it. This is your completed, gorgeous witch, riding on a broomstick, holding a pumpkin. Great job. Hey everybody, wonderful job. Thank you so much for taking the time to paint with me today. This beautiful fall painting, I'm sure, is going to be a great decoration for your Halloween season. So thank you all once again. If you have any more ideas of what other types of paintings you would like for me to do, just comment below and I will make sure to look into it and do some more of those types of paintings. So once again, my name is Amanda. Be sure to like and subscribe to see more videos from me in the future. Alright everyone, see you later. Bye!